Hello there and welcome. This Wednesday's edition of News Extra is a must-watch. It's International Women's Day, and you will get to see women's issues tabled on various platforms. In other news, Nnamdi Azikiwe Airport, Abuja, shuts down from midnight tonight, even as the first international flight lands and takes off at the Kaduna International Airport, which is the alternative during the 6 weeks closure of the Abuja airport. Also tonight, correspondent on special assignment takes a close look at SMEs and the Nigerian economy. I am Fatima Abbas Hassan with tonight's package of News Extra. In celebration of myself, I salute you. International flight has commenced at the Kaduna International Airport as the temporary closure of the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, takes effect from midnight tonight. Indiyang and Gyang reports that the Ethiopian Dreamliner is the first international flight to touch down and take off from the airport.
The Boeing 787 Ethiopian airliner touched down at the Kaduna International Airport at 11:35 a.m. Nigerian time to the warm welcome of the Minister of State Aviation, Hadi Sirika, who later went into the aircraft where he met with the captain and his crew. For him, it was a mixed feeling.
I remember the reasons why we are here today is because there is a failure in the runway in Abuja, which is due neglect over a period of time. That gives me some bit of sadness. But I'm glad that we thought proactively that there could be an alternative, and we set out working, and then there are quite a number of doubting Thomases that it won't happen. We can't handle an airplane of this size, multiple aisle, huge capacity airplane. Here we are with the Dreamliner from ET. So I feel great, and I like to thank Ethiopian Airlines for believing in us, for taking up to the challenge. And by the grace of God, we want to assure Nigerians and the world that it will be 6 weeks and 6 weeks no more.
Captain of the Ethiopian aircraft commended the instrument landing system.
The ILS, all the navigators, they were okay, excellent, and as a Pan-African airline, we're proud to serve you via Kaduna, and it's a very warm welcome.
The landing of Ethiopian Dreamliner Boeing 787 to Kaduna International Airport has allayed fears and concerns on the functionality of the airport to receive huge crafts.
These the passengers attested to.
I think there is nothing good that can happen more than this to Kaduna Airport. It's a welcome development, and our hope and prayer is for this to continue even after moving back to Abuja.
Yeah, the experience for me is very okay. Kaduna is like every other state in Nigeria.
It was really smooth. It was really comfortable, really good. Yeah.
Also to land the airport is a domestic airliner, Asman, which operated 2 flights.
It was pleasant, not out of the ordinary, just the same.
Earlier, before boarding the Ethiopian craft, passengers commended the smooth operations at the airport.
While there are some moments you'll be proud of yourself, proud that you are a Nigerian, and this is just one of the moments.
I came from Abuja. It's quite a long way, but the experience since I got to the airport has been good.
About 100 passengers landed and departed the airport with the Ethiopian airline. With the successful landing and takeoff of the Ethiopian airliner,
it is hoped that more international flights will come to Kaduna. From the Kaduna International Airport, I am Indiyang and Gyang, NTA News.
Many thanks, Indiyang. Now, joining me from Kaduna Network Center is Captain John Omale. He's an expert in aviation. Thank you for joining us, Captain. Thank you for joining us, Captain.
Thank you, Madam, for having me here.
Now that the Kaduna Airport is serving as an alternative airport to Abuja Airport, what can you tell us? What is latest as of today concerning the operational facilities?
Luckily, I was there today to witness the arrival of Ethiopian Airlines and all the other flights. The most important thing to know about Kaduna is that the airport is, as far as I'm concerned, one of the safest airports in this country. All the instrument landing system, the navigational system, the en route navigation, the landing system, the facility, safety facilities at the airport, the water system, the fire system, everything is working perfectly. And for the first time in a long time, I felt so happy to be alive to witness Kaduna's rebirth. I call this rebirth because I was highly motivated to see nearly 500 people at the airport and a new terminal building, which is about 99% complete now. And I think it's the best airport in terms of terminal building in Nigeria, better than any terminal building in Nigeria. And so for safety, number one, Kaduna is number one. You can see the Nigeria Space Management Agency. Power support, 24 hours power support, air traffic controllers. Everything is working perfectly in Kaduna, and safety is not an issue at all.
Okay, now, what do we, hope to experience in the next couple of days as full flight operations, increases?
Want to understand it is safer to land in Kaduna now than Abuja that has a structural runway integrity problem. And so with more flights into Kaduna, everybody will now witness the safety, a better safety margin in Kaduna than any airport, and I can say that than any airport, including Lagos, today. And if this is the way, developing all the airports in this country, or upgrading all the airports, this is the first test to this government, and I'm proud to be alive to see this development.
Now, the media has it that local flights have released their flight schedule for Kaduna operations. How true is that?
Seen any schedule of any of the airlines yet, but it is to their own advantage to land in Kaduna because it's shorter to Abuja than anywhere else. Anybody who wants to go to Jos and land before getting the passengers to Abuja is a lot further. And so Kaduna, to me, is the best. It's the shortest distance so far to Abuja. And so all domestic airlines have no choice, as far as I'm concerned, than to fly their passengers to Kaduna and join the bus, the scheduled bus, arranged by the airport's authority between Kaduna and Abuja. And 1.5, 2 hours in Abuja is the shortest distance to Abuja from anywhere right now.
Thank you very much, Captain John Omale, for talking with you. Now, and following the commencement of the international flight at the Kaduna International Airport, the Corps Marshal, Federal Road Safety Corps, Boboye Oyeyemi, says the establishment of 8 additional command outposts along Abuja-Kaduna Highway is for emergency response. This was during an assessment visit to the various outposts along the highway. Ahmed Muhammad Usman has that report.
Al-Herid camp of Jife village, where the central communication unit will be installed, and Kaduna International Airport were the first point of call by the Corps Marshal, where he saw for himself readiness of the gadget in that regard. Assessing the level of preparedness by his operatives along Kaduna-Abuja Expressway, the Corps Marshal acknowledged the free flow of traffic and effective emergency response mechanisms put in place owing to the fact that increase in vehicular movement is imminent.
We have deployed patrol vehicles, we have deployed the ambulances, we have deployed the personnel, and I think we're on course.
Facilities installed, the Corps Marshal said, will be put to use beyond the approved 6 weeks international flight operations in the state, hence the need for the operatives to take good care of them.
And these are permanent structures. It's not for 6 weeks. This, what the government has done now is that they have really created a model, a highway model, how a road safety operation should be.
Meanwhile, in recognition of their support to the FRSC operatives, the Corps Marshal has presented an award to the village head of Jipe, located along the expressway, and urged other communities across Nigeria to always support the works of the FRSC personnel in whatever way possible. In Kaduna, Ahmad Muhammad Usman, NTA News.
The acting president, Yemi Osinbajo, on behalf of the president, government and people of Nigeria, has appreciated the very valuable work done, a role played by women in Nigeria over the years since the struggle for independence. In a statement issued by his spokesman, Laolu Akonde, Professor Osinbajo said, "The nation acknowledges and values the contributions women are making to national development, working within and outside the home, as well as in public life." The statement added that to strengthen the economic capacity of Nigerian women, President Muhammadu Buhari personally ensured that the sum of 1.6 billion naira was set aside for the National Women's Empowerment Fund, the Jari Mata Fund. The administration also established, as part of its social investment program, the Government Enterprise and Empowerment Program, GEEP, which provides interest-free loans to artisans and traders. At the moment, 60% of beneficiaries under the GEEP program are women. The acting president said while some progress has been made connecting women and girls with opportunities, there is still so much to be done, and we must strive to use our laws, culture, and religious institutions, as well as our resources, to empower women, give them opportunity, and protect their rights to a safe, healthy, stable life in our country. He said his administration remains committed to ensuring the protection of all women, including from all forms of gender-based violence, especially those living in parts of the country where the security situation is difficult and living conditions are challenging. And as Nigeria joins the global community in commemorating International Women's Day, set aside by the United Nations on every 8th of March, the wife of the president, Aisha Muhammadu Buhari, felicitates with women in Nigeria and the world over. In a statement signed by her senior special assistant, Dr. Hajosani, the wife of the president noted, records have shown that women are the most vulnerable and poorest group globally. In Nigeria, she added that this gap exists as a result of socio-economic and other factors. She said despite these challenges women face in their journey, they must not be deterred, as they are the fountain of wisdom and endurance. Given this year's theme, Be Bold for Change, the wife of the president emphasized the need for taking appropriate actions that drive the greatest change for women, as well as accelerating gender parity and helping women advance their limitless potential. Mrs. Buhari reaffirmed her commitment to the cause of women through her initiative, Future Assured, which she said thousands of women and children benefit from. She therefore appealed to all stakeholders, especially government at all levels, to rise up to the global challenge of ensuring the achievement of gender equality and empowerment of all women and girls in line with objectives of Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs. In the meantime, as Nigeria joins the rest of the world in marking International Women's Day, there are calls for concerted efforts in promoting gender equality and empowerment, as well as entrenching legislations that guarantee the rights of women to governance. This was part of submission on NTA's Current Affairs program Tuesday Live. Talatu Ezirike has more on that.
Nigerian women, resilient, dogged and enterprising, constitute about half of the nation's population, but like their counterparts globally, face challenges of poor representation in governance, disparities in education, employment and economic empowerment. The issues that have taken center stage since the beginning of the 19th century to celebrate International Women's Day that got the United Nations backing in 1975 to entrench policies and programs for women advancement. The topmost concern for Nigerian women is gainful empowerment.
The country as a whole must be bold to accept change, to allow change in order to move forward. The Future Assured program of the wife of the president task all wives of governors to ensure that this program gets down to the grassroots, to properly educate women at the grassroots on economic empowerment, on their contribution to nation building.
So if we really want to develop this country, we must have a mental reconstruction of the way we look at women. The stereotypes are there.
For others, a lot more needs to be done to upskill Nigerians' low gender equality profile, particularly in politics.
If your party does not give you a level playing ground to compete at the same level with the men, then change your party. We must begin to really take bold steps.
Unless we go back to the drawing board about the issues of discovery, about the issues of money politics, because those were the things that took the center stage. Even the parties that claim that they have the issues of women at heart. Indeed, we have not seen it happen.
The general language is that women be seen as partners in progress. Interestingly, the 2017 International Women's Day theme, Be Bold for Change, aligns with President Muhammadu Buhari administration's drive in building a strong nation that, among other things, give women opportunities to flourish. Talati Ezobike, NTA News.
Thank you, Talatu. Well, it is a known fact that women, especially in Africa, play a significant role in the socio-economic well-being of their immediate environment, especially in agriculture. In spite of this, however, access to inputs, land, as well as other cultural beliefs have been major impediments. In this next report, agriculture correspondent Musa Baba Aliyu takes a look at women in agriculture as the world marks 2017 International Women's Day.
Women are key players in agricultural activities in Africa, as observed by agriculture economists. Even though in most communities, the women have a limitation in owning a land of their own, they actively participate in land clearing, planting, harvesting, as well as processing and marketing of the agricultural produce. In Nigeria, the women constitute about 70% of over 60 million smallholder farmers in the country. Most of them reside in rural areas, cultivating small portion of land, but with great impact on the economy. We don't only engage in crop production, but also in livestock, poultry and fishing, she says.
At least, sometimes I do achieve 65 bags of rice. Yeah.
Economists observed that the majority of the women farmers are largely excluded from financial services and therefore unable to improve their well-being and transform their farms into economic viable businesses.
That there are certain crops that, if they're well cultivated, can be harvested more than once a year, and I think it's time for us all as individuals, but with government support, because to get to scale, you really do need the enabling environment, you need access to affordable credit.
Means importation of machinery from reputable companies abroad, the setting up of these machines in villages for communities, palm oil processing, palm kernel processing, palm kernel oil processing.
Livelihood Intensive Family Enterprise Initiative is another program being promoted by the Federal Ministry of Agriculture towards addressing poverty and financial literacy among the women in rural areas. In Abuja, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
And still remaining with the issue of International Women's Day, the Senate has mandated its Committee on Women Affairs to look into the domestication of the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act in all states of the Federation. This followed the adoption of a motion moved by Senator Binta Masi Garba on women to commemorate the International Women's Day celebration. National Assembly correspondent Waziri Zayanu reports that the senators also called on government at all levels to give women a quota in all elective offices.
8th March is a date set aside to annually honor the achievements and calls attention to the rights of women. Senator Binta Masi Garba lamented that in spite of their immense contribution to national development, women in Nigeria are significantly underrepresented in virtually all aspects of the endeavor.
The Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act
the VIPP, which is the VAT bill that was signed into law in 2015, is yet to be domesticated.
Contributing to the motion, some senators stressed the need for the promotion of women's access to innovative technologies and climate-resilient jobs, as well as adequate protection of women from violence in workplaces.
At the Senate committee level of the constitutional amendment, Section 147 has been amended to include 35% affirmative action for women.
At a time like this, it's a time to recognize, appreciate, and honor their contribution to the political, socio-economic, and cultural development and advancement of our country.
Behold, for change it becomes imperative to accord women the honor they deserve with a campaign for more gender-inclusive world.
Women have come from a point in which there's been largely claimed that they suffer from double oppression. They suffer as members of a disprivileged group, and they also suffer oppression as women.
Presenting a bill for an act to provide for the establishment of the Federal University of Education, Kano, for second reading, Senator Barrow Jibrin noted that the institution has infrastructural base that is stronger than those of most universities in Nigeria.
I am sure that the third fund shall provide a take-up grant to the institution immediately. Immediately this bill is passed by the National Assembly and is assented to by the President.
In separate but similar bills, Senator Stella Odua and Senator Chukwuka Utazi stressed the need for an act to provide for the establishment of integrated community development agencies to enhance the economic and social sustainability of rural areas in Nigeria.
The need objectives of this bill is to give our rural areas a boost in terms of infrastructural development.
The component of rural development in the Ministry of Agriculture will be properly structured and focused to discharge its core mandate.
Senators at an executive session resolved to cancel the Ekweremadu-led delegation to South Africa in connection with the xenophobic attacks on Nigerians in that country. The decision is with a view to avoiding multiple delegation, as the House of Representatives has instituted a similar independent trip. Outside plenary, PDP caucus at the Senate has assured its supporters that in spite of leadership crisis in the party and mass defection, there is no cause for alarm. While speaking to journalists, Minority Leader Godswill Akpabio urged PDP supporters to remain resolute, pointing out that the ongoing challenges will make the party even stronger. From the National Assembly, Waziri Zayan, NTA News.
In a similar development, the House of Representatives has resolved to check prejudice against women and support programs aimed at gender equality and women empowerment. This resolution came as members took part in the commemoration of the International Women's Day. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Unko reports that the legislators also passed for second reading a bill for an act to establish the Complementary and Alternative Medicine Commission.
For more than 1 hour, members of the House of Representatives lent their voices to the call for women empowerment, gender equality, and elimination of all forms of violence against women.
The IDP camps are dominated by women who are faced on a daily basis with life-threatening situations. That we reshape the conversation, we break down the barriers, we challenge the stereotypes.
And if you don't have a good helpmate, you can never succeed in life.
The pregnant women are not being given special attention like it's being done in other countries.
To celebrate and appreciate the men who support women to excel.
The leadership of the House gave special acknowledgement to the strides made by Nigerian women.
For those 364 days that women are not celebrated, I celebrate them.
Sound and qualitative education for the women folks matters a lot.
The issue of the National Information Technology Development Fund featured on the floor as members resolved to investigate the funds collected from 2010 to 2015 by the Federal Inland Revenue Service, moved by Representative Ogoshi Onawo from Nasarawa State. A motion on the need for the federal government to enhance flight and airport safety, moved by Representative Igarewe Iduma, was adopted. The House resolved to investigate the recipients and selection process of beneficiaries of the federal government social intervention scheme, as moved by Representative Mark Bila from Benue State. A total of 22 bills were passed at first reading, and one of them is a bill for an act to amend the National Broadcasting Commission Act. At a separate briefing to mark International Day of Women, the Chairman House Committee on Women in Parliament, Evelyn Oboro, advised them to embrace the theme of this year's International Day of Women, which is Women Be Bold for Change.
To promote justice for all at home and at large. Give equal opportunity to all male and female.
And to diplomatic matters, where the Brazilian ambassador to Nigeria met with the Chairman House Committee on Nigeria-Brazil Parliamentary Group as part of measures to strengthen interparliamentary ties between the two countries.
If we are able to synergize through parliament and lawmaking, we should be able to see areas where you can assist Nigeria.
The Nigeria-Brazil Group is one of the special committees in the House to promote exchange of parliamentary ideas between Nigeria's House of Representatives and parliaments of other countries. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
And away from the activities of the legislature, the Federal Executive Council has approved the award of a $470 million contract aimed at enhancing the supply of potable water to greater part of the Federal Capital Territory, in line with the Abuja Master Plan. The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Mohammed Musa Bello, announced this while briefing newsmen after the Council's meeting presided over by Acting President Yemi Oshibajo. State House correspondent Adam Musambo reports that the Council also briefed on the positive signs for end to recession, as well as national economic growth.
Still basking in the euphoria of his 60th birthday, Acting President Yemi Oshibajo led the council members to consider and approve the contract for the Greater Abuja Water Supply Project. To be funded by China Exim Bank, the project will result in the extension of potable water to the critical districts of the city, leveraging on the existing Lower Usuma Dam and the water treatment plant.
For us in this administration, this is a very significant infrastructure project, and it's in line with our policy of concentrating on projects that will have the widest impact to the widest numbers of our population. As you know, providing potable water, good quality to the residents of this city is a very important priority for us. Their conclusion and, of course, operations will add to the value of life, and health of our citizens.
Also awarded is another 186 million naira contract for the supply of 1,000 tons of alum for the FCT Water Board, as well as the extension of water treatment plant contract for 24 months. This is to allow for the maintenance, training and retraining of competent staff, as well as the employment of Nigerian professionals and artisans that will ultimately man the facility. The Federal Executive Council was also briefed on the recently released National Bureau of Statistics fourth quarter GDP report, which the Minister of Budget and National Planning described as an indication that Nigeria is beginning to recover from recession.
The overall result was better than many people projected. The IMF thought for 2016 was going to be minus 1.8. It turned out minus 1.5. So we're encouraged, but we're even more energized to put in more efforts in agriculture, which has been doing very well, to get it even doing better, to put in more efforts in solid minerals, to make sure that our infrastructure spend, because that is what will stimulate the economy, that we continue with what we are doing to make sure that we get the economy out of recession this year.
The minister also informed the council members about the release of the Economic Recovery and Growth Plan already on the website of the ministry and the budget office.
The Economic Recovery and Growth Plan focuses on 3 objectives. 1 is restoring growth. 2, investing in our people, because our people are our greatest resource. And then building a competitive economy. We are determined with this plan to get this economy growing again. We are determined by the end of the plan to move from the negative growth that we experienced in 2016 to a growth rate of 7% by 2020.
And in spite of the critical nature of the national issues before them, members of the federal cabinet did not lose sight of the fact that acting President Yemi Osinbajo clocked 60. A special birthday cake was also provided, and the members joined the acting president in sharing the joyous moment.
60!
So I really feel very happy, very fulfilled, and frankly, thankful to God. Very, very thankful to God.
From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
A big congratulations there to the acting president and many more years. Now, Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, was guest at the Nigeria Liquefied Natural Gas Company, Bonny Island, in Rivers State. Anthony Forson reports that the visit afforded the minister the opportunity to appreciate the role the company is playing in contributing to the nation's economic growth.
Established 30 years ago, the Nigerian Liquefied Natural Gas Company has lived up to its expectations.
With the largest liquefied natural gas fleet in Africa, it has markets spread around the world. The company was ranked 4th in liquefied natural gas export as at 2015. Nigeria has a reserve that can push it to the top 5 position. The company started with an initial investment of about $6 billion. The company today has an asset base of over $11 billion and has generated over $90 billion in reserve. The NLNG company has 100% Nigerian staff strength. Its contribution in taxes stands at over $15 billion and other payments to all tiers of government to the tune of $51 billion. The minister spoke to newsmen shortly after the facility tour.
I did not know that Nigeria has a humongous asset as the NLNG. Awed, inspired, excited, I'm proud to be a Nigerian. This arguably the best success story of this country.
The managing director, Tony Atta, said the positive contributions of the company is under threat.
It is very imminent now. It is time for gas, as we said. It is time for Nigeria. It's time for Train 7 and 8. But as you expect, a few things have to be right. A critical element of that really is around the NLNG Act, the amendment proposed on the NLNG Act. We think that is not helping. We think it will not help Nigeria. We think it will not help us achieve Train 7 and 8. I think that has to be stopped, really.
Nigeria stands to lose over $70 billion in investment and between $53 and $124 billion as income, should the act be amended. From Bonny Island in Rivers State, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
You can watch this news live online via the NTA mobile app, which you can download on your Android device at the Google Play Store or at the Apple Store if you use devices with iOS. Still to come, boosting the national economy, plus the green bond towards enhancing the green economy. Stay with us to find out what it's all about.
Come down. Hey, see, come this gizzard. Put the data liver.
Yes, I'll go put Oga. This is so you have plenty. Why
you shake now? What do they worry? Cut them down.
Make I put this one go. Your money is to pay for this one, so
I don't pay already now.
Eh?
See, if you pay yesterday, you know they pay today. Now free tomorrow now.
Make I tell you, wallahi this one no be good to your support. Pretty tomorrow it never reach here. Wallahi you kwa. Somebody like you are go pay me my money now.
Now lie day everywhere.
What if? Huh? You are go pay me for my wait. Like pay me my money now.
Yeah, calm down.
As you talk about me, like tell me now who I go pay for this year? Who go pay for all this me? You talk about my
Whatever airtime or data you use, in one day you can get double the amount back tomorrow to browse, text, and talk to all networks. Free. Dial *600# today.
The largest data network, Glow, grandmasters of data.
Every visitor to Afe Babalola University, Abuja, since its establishment in 2010, has testified to its uniqueness.
This place will be comfortable for learning for any child.
When I came here, I discovered it is a good place for my child to come.
I'm very comfortable that my daughter will come out in flying colors, properly refined and built to meet the aspirations of the modern day Nigerian.
If you have a kind of arrangement like this, and this is just the beginning, then I want to imagine when it is having its golden anniversary. I think it has a place to go.
The school has a very, very bright future.
I'm praying I'll be part of that future if my kid is here.
Afe Babalola University, the fastest growing educational institution in Africa.
The National Examinations Council, NECO, wishes to inform the general public that the registration for the 2017 National Common Entrance Examination for admission into federal government unity colleges has commenced. Closing date, 27th March 2017. Forms are available at federal government colleges, state ministries of education, and NECO state offices nationwide. All payments should be made into NECO Treasury Single Account, TSA, in any of the commercial banks. Sale of forms closes 27th March 2017, and the examination is 8 April 2017. Professor Charles B.U. Uwakwe, Registrar Chief Executive, Announcer.
There is a reason Africa is called the new frontier. What was once potential is now an opportunity ready to be seized. Once revered for our resources, today's wealth is in our people. People who build the cities that shape the future. People who know an idea in one place means business in another. A generation for whom technology means there are no borders, no boundaries. We are the new lions in a brave new world, kings of the urban jungle. And there's a bank that puts the world in our pocket and the future in our hands. UBA, Africa's global bank.
Hello? Welcome to the M6 Challenge. Using your new Gioni M6, carry out everything on that list. Starting now.
M6 with a 5,000 milliampere battery that lets you go on for 2 days on a single charge.
Gioni M6, always in power.
The Future Assured project and its components, Get Involved, initiated by the wife of the President, Her Excellency Aisha Muhammadu Buhari, is not relenting in championing the cause of Nigerian women and children. Its provision of free medical screening, educational support, and the fight against malnutrition, especially in the Northeast, has indeed informed international recognition, partnerships and awards.
We are very grateful and appreciative for your wonderful gesture you have accorded to us.
With Future Assured, Nigerian women and children are assured of a bright future.
Future is assured when we join hands to promote the health of our women and children. Get involved.
Get involved and support the Future Assured initiative. Future Assured, promoting and protecting the lives of Nigerian women and children.
The attention of the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, SGF, has once again been drawn to the nefarious activities of some criminal elements in the society who have devised yet another devilish method of defrauding unsuspecting members of the public by impersonating the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Engineer Babachir David Lawal. They seek monetary gratifications from their victims who, as usual, they are sure of employment in the public service or outright political appointments. Department of State Services, DSS, and other security agencies have been informed and are working assiduously to curb the occurrence of this ugly phenomenon. Some culprits have indeed been apprehended. For the avoidance of doubt, some of the numbers they used are as follows. Members of the public are therefore hereby advised to be aware of fraudulent callers impersonating the SGF and indeed other top government functionaries. The general public are once again reminded that the federal government of Nigeria has established verifiable channels of communicating with individuals, groups, and organizations. If in doubt, contact the press unit, Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Shehu Shagari Complex, Abuja, for clarifications on all matters of public concern. Bolaji Adebiyi, announcer.
You're still watching NTA News Extra, reaching you live on the network service of the NTA. Now, in this segment, we take a close look at issues boosting the nation's economy. The economic realities in the nation seem to have done little in arresting the momentum in some key sectors of the economy. Usman Aliyu reports that small-scale businesses are springing up daily in manufacturing and agro-allied sectors to close the gaps in unemployment and ensure wealth creation.
And to the plow, with an eye for the emerging theme of beauty. Gloria Agia started this enterprise 2 years ago. Producing durable and beautiful rugs is tasking, but her sweat is slowly turning to sweet with her labor and creativity, creating further employment for 5 more permanent staff and 15 casual workers.
We're making plans when we get registered, certified by SON, to extend to exportation of our products. But for now, our market is basically Nigeria, with most of our clients concentrated in Abuja.
With an estimated 30 million homes and 36 states plus the FCT, Gloria's sector can provide 20,000 self-sustaining jobs in the country. While home essentials are dependent on buying power, taste, and other market variables, food is a must-have for survival, and value addition seems like the way to go. The resilient and savvy Nigerian youth can be trusted to convert concept to life-changing realities.
I started cultivating from my backyard down to the farm now. After the first harvest and the second harvest, we're able to get up to 5 million naira.
Tomato is a vegetable, but in Nigeria's booming agric sector, it is one of the low-hanging fruits.
The varieties of tomato which we produce, you can harvest and keep in a better condition, and it will last for good 30 days, the proper tomato without decomposing. According to a research conducted by Renaissance Capital, an expert on investment banking, Nigeria's economy is capable of attaining a value worth $1 trillion in 2025. This perhaps is associated with vibrant and attractive market players, with the population and abundant resources as key.
Small-scale industries continue to spring up in different corners of the nation, attesting to the determination of Nigerians to eke out the best in spite of challenges. Government says meeting this determination halfway with special programs targeted at boosting small businesses will get the sector moving at more desirable speed. In Abuja, Usman Aliyu, NTA News.
Now, the next question to ask is, where is government's money? In predicting government's revenue expectations, resource-based revenues may have huge potentials, but the numbers expected from revenue-generating agencies are far more predictable if monitored and collected in a transparent manner. Fisayo Ogunfuyi, in this report, simply asks, where is government's money?
Development experts agree that while Nigeria's strength in resource-based development is not in doubt, predictable revenue sources remain crucial in funding government's program, while other key sectors are being repositioned for optimal productivity. At Nigeria's main seaport in Apapa, Lagos, the key players say the eagle eye is on monitoring and ensuring that goods and machinery brought into the country attract commensurate tariffs without also compromising on security. Inland, other measures are also in place to boost government's revenue. Sokode Crescent in Abuja is the taxman's crescent. Now, apart from the fresh paint and new buildings, this revenue hub also has some fresh and innovative ideas in helping government realize the funds that will help reflect the economy and, of course, stimulate growth. Now, the National Tax Collector says already it has realized 27 billion naira under its waiver of interest and penalty program, with 2,735 taxpayers applying under the scheme.
What we're trying to do is to make it more convenient, make it more transparent, and in that respect, if a client wants to pay taxes and we offer that client the opportunity of using technology to make those payments, first of all, it will reduce the level of audits that is required on an annual or biannual basis. It will also make it easier for that taxpayer to make payments. It will also leave a trace, a track, a record for anyone who wants to confirm whether payment has been made or not.
While predictable revenues have been tracked and potential revenue sources encouraged, experts say a prudent and creative use of government funds in key sectors of the economy should see the Nigerian economy bouncing back. In Abuja, Fisayo Ogunfi, NTA News.
And the solid minerals sector is another key area of focus in the economic diversification drive of government, where potentials is to be matched with action. Namdi Odigbo reports on a critical tool used by the federal government to overcome developmental challenges in the sector, and this creates an alternative source of earning for Nigeria.
The steady thrust of meta into the ground makes a repeated thought that somewhat reinforces the tenacity of these workers. Artisanal miners with crude tools but seemingly fluid coordination bent on reaping the fruits of their labor from the earth. The operations of these small-scale players not only hinge on illegality, but have also impacted negatively in the expansion of the solid mineral sector.
What we need to do actually is to make sure that government prioritizes the solid mineral sector, and we have enough data to show people that we have enough potential so that we can attract the big players.
The country's huge potential in solid minerals has never been in doubt. Nigeria is endowed with massive mineral deposits with at least 44 known mineral assets spread across the federation. But based on current data, Nigeria's solid mineral sector contributes a paltry 0.34% to the gross domestic product. A move by the current administration to turn the tide informed the development of a blueprint which targets a 5% increase by 2017 and a double-digit increase by 2020. The success of government's blueprints derives from sustaining active participation of big and major players in a sector that promises impressive returns.
Some reforms have taken place. They've not been deep enough. We need to deepen them, particularly in terms of the regulatory and legal framework. Finally, to ensure that we make resources available to players in this sector, because it's a capital-intensive sector.
In many ways, the blueprint is a major lifeline. The development initiative promises to breathe life into moribund establishments like the National Iron Ore Mining Company, Itakpe, Kogi State. When facilities like these are revamped and greater interest generated in other areas of solid minerals exploration, the impact on revenue generation and employment would be huge.
We're preparing for the next boom, and the way we want to do that is to focus first on industrial minerals, which we have in abundance in Nigeria.
But there's still a long and hard journey ahead until concrete and positive changes take root in the sector. And perhaps government realizes it needs to make critical and sometimes difficult decisions to succeed. In Abuja, Namdi Odigbo, NTA News.
The Federal Ministry of Environment is working with the African Development Bank, ADB, to ensure that the proposed 78 billion naira sovereign green bond initiative of the federal government is an instant hit. Correspondent Vivian Idepefo reports that this was the focus of discussion during an interactive session with the Minister of State Environment, Ibrahim Usman Jibril, in Abuja.
Nigeria is the first African country to issue the Green Bond, which was formally announced in 2016 by President Muhammadu Buhari while signing Nigeria's nationally determined contribution in New York. Riding on this commitment, Acting President Yemi Osinbajo at the Capital Market Forum in Lagos announced that the first tranche of 20 billion naira will be issued before the end of the first quarter of 2017. Proceeds from the bond sale will be applied to climate and environmentally friendly green projects such as off-grid solar, energy-efficient transportation, and smart agriculture that encourages biofuel. Consequently, the Capital Markets Development Division of the African Development Bank is offering the Federal Ministry of Environment its expertise to ensure that Nigeria not only gets value but also maintains the lead.
We will also work with you on the sensitization of the market so that they could actually see how the green bond is issued, understand the product so that they can be able to participate both as issuers or as investors.
Data from the Nigerian Stock Exchange reveals that the value of green bonds, which is seen as a viable alternative to traditional bonds, rose from $4 trillion in 2004 to $60 trillion in 2016 globally. In Abuja, Vivian Idepefo, NTA News.
Thank you, Vivian. I'm now being joined by the Minister of State Environment, Alhaji Ibrahim Usman Jibril. You're welcome.
Thank you, Fatima. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Now, Nigeria will soon issue its first sovereign green bond. What exactly is this?
Well, thank you. Bonds are debt securities that are issued by the capital markets in order to raise funds. In this case, the green bond is targeted specifically to the issues of environment. And in the case of Nigeria, which we are hoping to be the first African country to issue green bond, we are targeting three major sectors. We are looking at renewable energy, and in that case, the issue of solar power. We are also looking at afforestation in the Federal Ministry of Environment, and we're using the Federal Capital Territory as a laboratory in the transportation sector. Let me start with the Federal Capital Territory, transportation sector. Anybody who is conversant with the city of Abuja and the early morning rush hours knows clearly the axis from Suleja in Niger State to the city and the other axis from Kefi in Nasarawa State to the city are areas of congestions. So the target here is to provide capital, raise capital in the capital markets that will be targeted towards production of buses that will be using the BRT. And then, we are fully aware of how the Kuba Expressway up to Zuba is a 10-lane dual carriageway, and therefore one of the lanes on each side will be dedicated to these buses. The idea is to use these buses and reduce the amount of vehicles on the road, and thereby reducing the amount of emission that are generated by these vehicles, which are harmful to the environment and a major cause of climate change. So the FCT will be our first laboratory, and in the modest start, we intend to use that axis and subsequently KFI axis as well as the Guagalada axis to leverage on the green bond if and when it is launched. On the aspect of renewable energy, we are all familiar with the situation of fossil fuel and the contribution it makes to the climate change. And all over the world, the Paris Agreement, which was signed and ratified by Nigeria, is what it did was to bring to fore the issues of climate to the world community and to bring capital into the issue of climate. And therefore, people have now realized globally that you can make money, you can improve your economy if you adopt sustainable development programs. So in this respect, Nigeria has a determined contribution, and in order to fulfill those obligations which Nigeria is a party to, we need to do something that will help in mitigating as well as adopting the issues of climate change. So the solar program is one of those that we intend to embark if and when the green bond is launched. In other words, the capital raised from these bond issuance will be used to leverage on projects that are sustainable, and the solar energy is one of them. We're targeting, in the first instance, schools, about 9 federal premier universities, which will be used as a pilot scheme to power them using solar power energy. Apart from that, in the Ministry of Environment itself, there are 4 sectors. We have the Department of Desertification, we have the National Agency for the Great Green Wall, we have the Forest Research Institute of Nigeria. These outfits are positioned in such a way that the National Agency for the Great Green Wall, which is an African initiative covering 11 countries from the western part of Africa to the east, and Nigeria, it covers 11 states from Kebbi to Borno State. The Great Green Wall, we are repositioning it in such a way that instead of planting just any other tree and allowing them to grow anyhow, we are changing the direction. We are repositioning it in such a way that whatever trees we are going to plant, they will be economic trees, and we want the people in these areas to key into it, own it, and take care of it. We believe if we do that, if the people are fully involved and they own up to it, they will generate income from the economic trees. And we're targeting trees like acacia, we're targeting trees like jatropha, which have low, short gestation period. And
okay, now let's quickly take a look at what measures have you put in place, to ensure that the proposed projects are viable and satisfy the bankability tests?
Well, we are partnering with the Nigerian Stock Exchange in the first place, and there are other rating agencies like Moody's that have shown a lot of interest and are preparing the guidelines for these issuance. So since it is something that needs a lot of transparency, you need to build the confidence. And recently the Vice President was in Lagos to launch the workshop, which we attended, and a lot of partners have shown a lot of interest. So on our own side, we are developing the guidelines, and we're working in active collaboration. The Minister of Finance was gracious enough to give us our support, and using the Debt Management Office, which will be a key player, we're developing these guidelines in such a way that we shall build the investors' confidence, and that will encourage many people to key in at the first pilot that will be issued in a couple of weeks. We intend for the first time for it to be a sovereign one, but subsequent issuance, if and when this one sells through, the private sector will be allowed to participate, and subsequently international outfit can also come in to invest in this noble project.
Thank you very much, Minister of State Environment, Alhaji Ibrahim Usman Jibril.
Thank you, Fatima.
And away from issues of the environment, although no hearing date has yet been fixed for the matter, the final leg of the People's Democratic Party's legal battle has now been formally entered at the Supreme Court. In this special report, Judiciary correspondent Femi Okewo chronicles the PDP's recent legal battles that have almost turned the party apart.
Entered as SC 133/2017 at the Supreme Court, the matter is between the People's Democratic Party as appellant against Senator Alimadu Sheriff, INEC, IGP, and DSS as respondents. In some instances, these litigations have been seen as absurd by legal observers, with 4 parallel cases going on at a particular time in the Federal High Courts and the High Courts of the FCT, or Courts of Coordinate Jurisdiction. They include the matter before Justice Ibrahim Buba of the Federal High Court, Lagos, Justice Liman of the Federal High Court, Port Harcourt, and the one before Justice Mohammed of the FCT High Court. It was before Justice Buba that Alimadu Sharif prayed the court to stop the planned Port Harcourt Convention since their offices were not vacant. Before Justice Liman of the Federal High Court, Port Harcourt, the Rivers State PDP asked the court to validate the Port Harcourt Convention, while in the FCT High Court in Abuja, before Justice Mohammed, 18 other officers of the party asked the court to declare their offices not available for contest.
Justice Buba said no effort should be made to occupy the three offices of National Chairman, National Secretary, and National Auditor.
While Justice
through
Mohammed
any convention.
Yes.
While Justice Mohammed
said 18 offices were not vacant.
And therefore must not be tampered with.
Okay. Meanwhile, the Ondo State wing of the PDP, which had been having its own running battle, was before Justice Okon Abang of the Federal High Court, Abuja. It was this matter that brought Justice Abang and Justice Liman in Port Harcourt on a collision course when Justice Abang tried to resolve the issue of who should rightly represent the PDP before him, since the McCarthy arm and the Alimadu Sharif arm had announced different counsel to represent the national PDP in that matter. With counter verdicts flying around, it was eventually Justice Buba's injunction in Lagos that the Court of Appeal in Port Harcourt relied upon to arrive at its recent judgment. Because Justice Ibrahim Buba of the Federal High Court Lagos had given an injunction stopping the Port Harcourt Convention pending the determination of the matter before him, the Court of Appeal said whatever was done in Port Harcourt was in contravention of a court order and was therefore null and void. The journey of the PDP leadership tussle to the nation's apex court have been long and tortuous. But contrary to some notions, it has not been a waste of time. The decisions coming from the FCT High Court to the Federal High Court and then to the Court of Appeal have helped to improve the law and the polity. So now, even though the PDP leadership tussle is now before the Supreme Court, there are emerging thoughts that the resolution of this matter may not be strictly determined by the courts. From moves being made, indications are that the politicians may find political ways of resolving this case even after the pronouncement of the Supreme Court. In Abuja, Femi Okeowo, NTA News.
The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has presented a certificate of return to Basi Etim as Senator-elect Akwa Ibom Northeast Senatorial District.
I want to present you a certificate on behalf of the Commission. This was that. This was that.
Senator-elect Basi Etim of the People's Democratic Party reacts this way.
Prove that INEC is indeed independent and neutral. And also, INEC is a law-abiding entity.
The Federal High Court in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State, ruled that both the PDP and Basi Albert Akpan could not prove that Basi Etim was not the authentic winner of the PDP primary election conducted in December 2015. The Nigerian Air Force has successfully destroyed a logistics base concealed by fleeing Boko Haram terrorists in Sambisa. 2 fleeing terrorists were tracked by NAF intelligence, surveillance and reconnaissance aircraft to the concealed location where they had gone to retrieve some items before fighter aircraft were called in for strike. The coordinated attack was carried out by a formation of 2 Alpha jets and air fighter aircraft. The reconnaissance aircraft remained overhead while the target location to guard the attacking aircraft as well as provide battle damage assessment. The huge inferno generated by the attack suggests that the target location was either a fuel or ammunition dump, as can be seen from the declassified footage of the air strike. The Apex Bank gets commendation on its foreign exchange market intervention. The details when we return in just a moment. Join us again.
I've waited so long for this game.
There's a problem with this car.
What's happening? No.
Guys, let's not go time. I'm not taking time. Make it go blow my face.
Do this thing now. We are not missing the match.
You ain't going. Hello, hey. Where? Nice. Wanna try. Oh. Good. Hold on, guys. Glow can actually borrow me data. So let's get back to watching it. I told you.
Borrow me data from Glow. Dial *321#, even if your account balance is 0.
The largest data network, Glow, grandmasters of data.
With Happy Cover from Leadway Assurance, you'll be covered for, well, almost anything. From house cover to automobile to personal cover, all with one single premium. Get happy. SMS happy to 22865 and we'll call you back. SMS now. Live happy with Leadway Assurance, ensuring happiness since 1970.
The president of the Nigerian Medical Association, Professor Mike Ozovehe-Ogrima, cordially invites the general public to our third NMA Doctors Games, which is scheduled to commence from 9th March 2017 at the Jolly Inyame Stadium, Jalingo. Time 10 a.m. Special guest of honor, His Excellency Architect Darius Dixon Ishaku, Executive Governor, Taraba State. Guest of honor, Professor Isaac F. Adewale, Minister of Health. Chief host, Dr. Innocent Vakari, Commissioner of Health, Taraba State. Host, Professor Mike O. Ogrima, President, NMA. Sporting events that will take place include football, volleyball, basketball, lawn tennis, table tennis, badminton, chess, Scrabble, draft, and lots more. Be there. It promises to be exciting. You are welcome. NMA National Announcer.
Whenever pain occurs, you want quick relief. Try new Nurofen Express. It goes to the source of pain and gets to work in under 15 minutes. That's why Nurofen Express delivers fast and effective relief. New Nurofen Express works at the source of pain. Fast.
Being a mom is great, but when your child has a fever, you don't know what to do. I trust Nurofen for Children to take care of my child's pain and fever.
Effective relief you can trust.
Discover the true diversity of Nigerian food as we share how we prepare, cook, and enjoy our local dishes. Delicious Niger, brought to you by Maggie, showing on these stations.
Coca-Cola?
Oh, it's happy hour. So, you want a free Coca-Cola, but you have to drink it here.
Thank you for rejoining us on NTA News Extra tonight. The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has been commended for its intervention at the nation's foreign exchange market, but urged to encourage creation of other legitimate windows of supply to crash demand at the parallel market. Amechi Pius tells us more on Business News segment.
A warm welcome to Business News. The Central Bank of Nigeria's modified foreign exchange policy has continued to generate reactions among financial and economic experts who have described the policy as one that is bridging the gap between the exchange rates at the official and parallel markets. A financial analyst, Dr. Oladimeji Alo, told NTA Business News in an interview that if the steady supply of forex into the foreign exchange market is sustained, it will reduce demand at the parallel market and build investor confidence on the market.
Things I'm expecting CBN to do is to create a window to allow people who have forex overseas to bring it in and sell in the open market. Forces of demand and supply. If that happens, you find that the sustainability we're talking about not just about CBN supplying, it's about other foreign inflows that come in, and we'll get a more realistic value for the Naira.
Dr. Law believes that the CBN's intervention is gradually engendering stability, which is stressed will over time eliminate speculative purchases at the market and reduce pressure on the dollar at the parallel market. The United States dollar exchanges for between 375 and 381 naira at the official market, while it sells for between 400 and 459 naira at the parallel market. And as the world celebrates International Women's Day, a group of women in business led by Nigeria's first female professor of history, Professor Bolanle Awe, was at the Nigerian Stock Exchange today. Professor Awe, who expressed delight at the visit, described the capital market as a viable market for investment.
The important thing is the ability to work hard, to be resourceful, and to think of ways and means of generating income.
A seminar on transcending gender limitation was held as part of activities to mark the day. Meanwhile, at the close of business, investors purchased more than 218 million shares at about 4 billion naira in 3,191 deals. Nigerian breweries led other gainers with a gain of 2 naira 34 kobo to close at 139 naira 80 kobo per share, while Selplast emerged the top loser, depreciating by 20 naira to close at 380 naira per share. Market capitalization finished at 8.64 trillion naira, while the OSHA index closed at 24,986.02 points. And that's business news. Thanks for watching. The news continues shortly. Good evening.
Now, the 5th edition of the Lift Above Poverty organization LAPO Outstanding Women Leadership Award has held, raising awareness for collective efforts to fix the economic challenges facing the country. Muhammad Abdul Qadir has the details of that report.
In the professional line, Professor Obeyi Okoje distinguished herself for mentoring over 4,000 medical doctors in community medicine, and Barrister Bimbola Mustafa for the defense of child's rights, while Faith Ovie received the business category award for lifting over 300 women above poverty line. The executive director, Lapo, said the award is the 5th in the series.
Championing the cause of women and forging their advancement in life.
Dignitaries described the award as a right step in the right direction. This year's award coincides with the International Women's Day celebration. In 2016, about 3,875 people benefited from LAPO Community Health Outreach. It also disbursed about 140.4 billion naira to owners of micro and small enterprises, and its customer base stands at 2.9 million in 30 states, including the Federal Capital Territory. In Benin, Edo State, Muhammad Abdel Kadri, NTA News.
To retain the confidence of its esteemed customers, the Nigerian Breweries PLC has upgraded 3 of its facilities to world-class standards in Ogun State. Chairman, Board of Directors, Nigerian Breweries, Kola Jamodu, says the upgrade is aimed at improving the quality of the various brands. Abolade Salami reports that Ogun State Governor, Senator Ibikule Amosu, unveiled the facilities.
Inspecting the Modern Skills Training Center, the SGF commended the management of ITF for promoting, encouraging, and training manpower sufficient to meet the need of the economy.
What I'm going to advise at the end to them is to make sure that they also publicize what they can do here. But I'm very happy, I'm really encouraged that if our youth get to know what is really here, some of the things they can do and here, this problem of youth employment, I think, will have been critically addressed. So I'm really impressed.
The Director General Industrial Training Fund, Joseph Irish, said Industrial Training Fund will continue to work towards the promotion of youths and support.
Since then, we've been the leading in diverse ways. Till today, we're still the leading brand.
Ogun State Governor Senator Ibikule Amosu commended the management of Nigerian Breweries PLC OTA for upgrading its facilities in order to meet the needs of its customers.
The company has successfully grown beyond brewing and marketing of world-class brands to our agricultural sector, provision of infrastructure and sustained investment in youth employment.
High point of the ceremony was the tree planting and unveiling of the 3 facilities. The PET line, rated as the best in the Ennekins ward to deepen the availability of non-alcoholic products, and the water treatment plant to ensure a continued excellent quality of brand, as well as the waste water treatment plant.
Otto Brewery was rated as the most improved brewery in African Middle East region by Ennekins in 2014 from the production unit of the Nigerian brewery here in Otago State. I'm Abolade Salami, NTA News.
The Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Babachir David Lawal, has called for private sector support to government's efforts at building capacity for youths through skills acquisition programs. This was in his message at the inspection tour of Skills Training Center at the Industrial Training Fund, ITF, Abuja. Chidima Ansonagamo reports that he was represented by the Permanent Secretary Political and Economic Affairs in the SGF's office.
Inspecting the Modern Skills Training Center, the SGF commended the management of ITF for promoting, encouraging, and training manpower sufficient to meet the need of the economy.
What I'm going to advise at the end to them is to make sure that they also publicize what they can do here. But I'm very happy, I'm really encouraged that if our youths get to know what is really here, some of the things they can do and here, this problem of youth employment, I think, will have been critically addressed. So I'm really impressed.
The Director General Industrial Training Fund, Joseph Irish, said Industrial Training Fund will continue to work towards the promotion of youths and support the federal government's diversification as well as accelerate all-round development.
We all have agreed with the OPS to align our thoughts and our actions with the economic diversification and industrialization program of President Muhammadu Buhari. And we have seen the need that is the direction to go for our country.
These are practical means of taking the youth off the streets and giving them a future and means of livelihood. And the beauty about it is that you don't have to wait for 3, 4, 5 years before you start getting the results.
The facilities inspected include electronics laboratory, student project lab, auto mechanical lab, internet working lab, Java program, and internet application laboratory. High points of the event is the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding between Nigeria Employers Consultative Association and Industrial Training Fund, ITF. In Abuja, Chidiman Sinagomo, NTA News.
Just ahead, one very prominent octogenarian tells us where there is a breakdown of morals in the society. We'll be right back with the details.
Change does not just happen. You and I and all of us must appreciate that we all have our part to play if we want to bring change about. We must change our lawless habits, our attitude to public office, and public trust. We must change our unruly behavior in schools, hospitals, marketplaces, motor parks, on the roads, in homes and offices. To bring about change, we must change ourselves by being law-abiding citizens.
My kids to learn new things, and if they get hurt, I rely on the power of my Dettol's One Capful. To fight germs, it's like my own first aid kit.
My family needs protection from germs. I use the power of Dettol's One Capful to disinfect surfaces and clothes to keep them clean and safe from germs.
I trust the power of Dettol's One Capful for bathing. The power of Dettol's One Capful protects from up to 100 illness-causing germs.
Millions of powerful Niger moms use the power of Dettol's One Capful to protect their families. Be a powerful Niger mom with Dettol. Be 100% sure.
Do you crave class? Do you have care about comforts? If you do, then for your next event, a stay away from home, a business trip, or a holiday, visit Jade's Hotel at 24 Undola Crescent, Wuse Zone 5, Abuja. Check out our world-class services, exquisite suites, restaurant and bar, gymnasium, spa and grills, and our outdoor catering services and cuisines. At Jade's, it can only be better. For bookings and reservations, visit us today at 24 Undola Crescent, Wuse Zone 5, Abuja, or visit www.jadeshotels.com. Our email address is info@jadeshotels.com. You can also call us on 09291-9321 or 0810-909-7956. Jade's Hotels. Welcome to life.
The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, is working to ensure access to safe, good quality essential medicines with the World Health Organization pre-qualification of Made in Nigeria pharmaceutical products, stiffer penalties for fake drug offenders with a review of NAFDAC laws, national, regional, and international collaborations, cutting-edge technologies, including the mobile authentication service.
NAFDAC impacts upon everything we do, including water we drink, the food we eat. They are important organs to the development of this country. And everybody should come out and join them and support them and help them to achieve the greatest benefits and success that they need to record.
Let us support NAFDAC to win the war against fake drugs and other unwholesome regulated products. NAFDAC, safeguarding the health of the nation.
On the Sports Parliament this week, the 2017 Confederation of African Football presidential election will be held on 16th March in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, with incumbent Issa Hayatou from Cameroon and Madagascar FA chairman Ahmed contesting. The elections are held every 4 years, and 70-year-old Hayatou has been in the position since 1988. Ahmed, the 57-year-old who is in his third term as head of the Madagascar FA, is seen as a dark horse, but he has built a solid base. The continent waits with bated breath to see which way the pendulum will swing. Sports Parliament, keeping abreast with sporting issues as never before.
We rise. We unite. We create. We are passion. We are belief. We are fire in our hearts. We are made of black.
Following the approval of the whistleblowers policy by the Federal Executive Council and its launch by the Minister of Finance, Mrs. Kemi Adeosun, patriotic Nigerians have been making inquiries on how and where they could deliver information that could lead to the stopping or uncovering of fraud to the appropriate authority and answers to frequently asked questions. The Federal Minister of Finance has therefore dedicated a telephone line for receiving SMS, a whistleblowers portal, and an email address through which members of the public who volunteer to disclose information about a possible misconduct or violation could deliver such information for the attention of the team dedicated to process such information.
This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
You're welcome back. Former President Chief Olusegun Obasanjo says the breakdown of morals and character among the youths could be attributed to abandonment of storytelling and folktales by the older generation. He made the observation at an event tagged Story Time with Baba in Ibogun Olaogun in Ogun State. Ayo Miku Ajibola completes the report.
Olusegun Obasanjo, who was accompanied by his wife and close associate of the program tagged Storytime with Baba, sat among pupils from 9 schools at Baptist Day School, Ibogun Olaogun, where he had his primary education, telling them folk tales. He recalled that while growing up in the community, His parents and other community leaders gather young children, including him, under moonlight, to give them riddles and fables.
These fables are used to teach morals, lessons of life, to build character and to inculcate values. Every fable ends with lesson of what to do or what not to do.
The elder statesman, however, expressed concern that such practice has been gestation by parents, thereby denying children a good platform to build character. He said he has therefore written 12 books containing several of such stories as part of effort to preserve the culture and prepare children for the future. Earlier, Chairman and the Vice Chair Planning Committee, Professor Peter Okebukola, described the former president as a great writer and author.
If I look at all the books Baba has written, look at all the international publications he has written, he should be professor 10 times over.
Baba is an example, an embodiment of success for the young ones.
That one should just believe that by dint of hard work, no position is so high not to be achieved.
The initiative of folk tales with young ones by former President Olusegun Obasanjo has been commended. Experts say the idea will revive the culture of storytelling in order to instill moral values in the young ones.
It is through folk tales that we teach our children morals. We teach them our cultural values. We teach them our ways of doing things, history of our ancestors. We teach them our traditions. We teach them our festivals with folk tales. Those are the things that our children will know, and it will go from one generation to the other.
From Ibogun Olaogun in Ogun State, Ayomiku Ajibola, NTA News.
Time now for another short break. Stay with us.
The investment program has begun. The poorest and most vulnerable in the land get 5,000 naira monthly, and phase 1 has started in 9 states of the Federation. 200,000 unemployed graduates have been engaged in the N-Power Volunteer Corps, designed to engage 500,000 people. 5.5 million children will be fed regularly in the homegrown school feeding program, which kicked off in 3 states last year, with 9 more to be added this year. And under the Government Enterprise and Empowerment Program, GEEP, thousands of cooperatives, market women, farmers, and enterprising youth have been receiving between 10,000 and 100,000 naira soft loans since November 2016. The Social Investment Program has begun. It can only get better. We promise change. Change is here.
We unite. We defy. We hope. We dream. We play. We are fire in our hearts. We are made of black.
And now for a bit on sports.
The Nigerian Referees Association commenced its 2017 first quarter fitness test for members Tuesday at the main bowl of the Abuja National Stadium, with all the participating FIFA referees scaling through. The exercise ends Thursday with Premier League referees, as officials insist standards must be sustained for the good of the game.
FIFA says you have to run 4 times in a year. That is every 3 months for you to be fit and be engaged in a game.
About 60 youth and Nigerian Nationwide League coaches have concluded a 3-day capacity building program held at the Abuja National Stadium in furtherance of the 5-year partnership between the league management company, managers of the Nigeria Professional Football League and La Liga of Spain.
Major General Adeyinka Adebayo, former military governor of Old Western region of Nigeria, has died at the age of 89. He died in his sleep, according to a family source. Adebayo was the father of Otumba Adeniyi Adebayo, the first elected governor of Ekiti State. General Robert Adeyinka Adebayo was governor of the then defunct Western region of Nigeria between 1966 and 1971. He became governor after Colonel Francis Adekunle Fajuyi's death in the 1966 coup d'etat. The death has also been announced of a former director of Federal Government Press, Mr. Robert Ayokpini Gwakia. Age 63, Mr. Gwakia voluntarily retired from public service into missionary activities in 2009. Funerals activities begin with a wake keep on the 9th of March at the NKST church premises, Mabushi, Abuja. The body leaves the National Hospital on the 10th of March for final interment in his hometown in Kwande local government area of Benue State. Late Mr. Gwakia is survived by wife, children, and grandchildren. The death has been announced of Professor Veronique Laruba Amdi. Aged 65, Mrs. Veronica Amdi was until her death a professor of social studies education, Department of Arts and Social Sciences, University of Abuja. Her funeral activities will commence with a service of songs at the Ekwe Church, Wuse 2, Abuja, on March the 22nd. Interment comes up at her family residence in Lokoja after a funeral service on Friday, March 24th. She is survived, among others, by her husband, Professor Sam Amdi, Department of Political Science, University of Abuja. And this is where we wrap it up on NTA News Extra tonight. We thank you very much for joining us. Remember, today is International Women's Day, so we should celebrate our mothers, wives, daughters, and friends. Until then.